Surgery is an intricate, life-saving practice that most people think began relatively recently. However, you might be surprised to learn that the roots of surgery can be traced back thousands of years to a man known as the father of surgery, Sushruta. He lived in ancient India and was one of the most innovative medical minds of his time, developing surgical techniques that are still in use today. His work, preserved in the ancient text known as the Sushruta Samhita, has influenced medicine across the world, from India to Europe and beyond. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Speak English Fluently channel. Today, we'll be exploring the life, work, and lasting legacy of Sushruta, the father of surgery. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so now, so you don't miss any of our fascinating conversations. Let's get started.
Emily, have you ever heard of Sushruta? He's one of the most important figures in the history of medicine, and he's often called the father of surgery.
I think I've heard his name, but I don't know much about him. Was he really the first surgeon? How long ago are we talking?
Sushruta lived over 2,500 years ago, around the 6th century BCE, in what is now India. He was a physician and a teacher of Ayurveda, which is one of the world's oldest medical systems. His work was so advanced for his time that he's credited with writing the Sushruta Samhita, a text that contains detailed descriptions of surgeries, medical treatments, and even pharmacology. In fact, many of his techniques are still used in some form today.
Wow, 2,500 years ago? That's incredible. What kind of surgeries did he perform back then?
It's pretty mind-blowing. Sushruta performed a wide variety of surgeries, some of which were incredibly advanced for the time. One of his most famous procedures was rhinoplasty, or reconstructing the nose. He developed a technique to graft skin from other parts of the body to reconstruct the nose, which is still used in modern plastic surgery.
Wait, did you say plastic surgery? I thought that was a more modern thing.
Believe it or not, plastic surgery has ancient roots, and Sushruta was one of the first to document these kinds of procedures. His rhinoplasty technique was developed because in ancient India, cutting off someone's nose was a common punishment. Sushruta wanted to find a way to help people recover from such disfigurement. His method involved taking skin from the forehead and shaping it to form a new nose, a technique called the forehead flap, which is still in use today.
That's amazing. It's hard to believe that people were doing such sophisticated surgeries so long ago. What else was he known for?
Well, Sushruta wasn't just a surgeon. He was an expert in all kinds of medical treatments. The Sushruta Samhita details around 300 surgical procedures and describes over 120 surgical instruments, many of which resemble the tools surgeons still use today. He also categorized surgeries into 8 types, including incisions, excisions, bone setting, and even procedures for internal bleeding.
That sounds incredibly advanced for such an ancient time. How did he know so much about the human body?
Sushruta emphasized the importance of studying human anatomy. Unlike many ancient cultures that avoided dissection, he encouraged his students to study cadavers so they could fully understand the body. In fact, his Sushruta Samhita includes detailed descriptions of the body's anatomy, organs, muscles, and even bones, far more advanced than what was available in other ancient cultures.
So they were dissecting human bodies for educational purposes? That must have been controversial, right?
It was highly unusual, and in many parts of the world, it would have been taboo. But Sushruta believed that without a deep knowledge of the body's inner workings, a surgeon could not perform successful operations. His approach was revolutionary, and it helped his students understand complex surgical techniques.
It seems like he wasn't just ahead of his time. He was leading the way for centuries of medical knowledge. Did he invent any other significant surgical techniques?
Absolutely. One of his other notable contributions was cataract surgery, which he performed using a procedure that involved using a curved needle to remove the clouded lens from the eye. This surgery is essentially a precursor to modern-day cataract surgery, although we use more advanced tools now. His methods were far ahead of what was being practiced in other civilizations at the time.
Cataract surgery too? It's hard to wrap my head around how much he accomplished. How was his work preserved though? Did he have students?
Yes, Sushruta was not only a brilliant surgeon but also a dedicated teacher. His teachings were passed down to his students and preserved in the Sushruta Samhita. This text is part of a larger collection of works on Ayurveda, and it was written in Sanskrit. The Sushruta Samhita remained one of the most important medical texts in India for centuries. It even influenced medical practices outside of India when it was translated into Arabic around the 8th century, which allowed it to spread throughout the Middle East and later into Europe.
That's incredible. So his influence wasn't just limited to India?
Exactly. The translation of his works into Arabic allowed Sushruta's ideas to reach scholars in the Islamic world, where they were studied and built upon. From there, his surgical techniques made their way into Europe during the medieval period. While much of Western medicine lagged behind, Sushruta's ideas were centuries ahead.
Emily, it's amazing how knowledge travels and builds upon itself across cultures and time. So, how did Sushruta's techniques hold up against modern medicine? Are his methods still relevant today?
Many of Sushruta's core principles are still relevant in modern surgery. For example, his emphasis on cleanliness, hygiene, and patient care are practices we still follow today. His surgical instruments, although more primitive than modern tools, were remarkably well designed for their time. Additionally, his categorization of different types of surgeries and the way he taught his students to prepare and practice before performing real surgeries is very similar to how medical students are trained today.
It really makes you appreciate how advanced ancient civilizations were, especially in fields like medicine and surgery. They didn't have the technology we have now, but they still accomplished so much.
Absolutely. Sushruta's work is a reminder that scientific knowledge isn't just a product of modern times. His contributions were based on observation, experimentation, and a commitment to healing people. He set the foundation for the future of surgery and medicine.
So how long did his influence last in India? Was his work always appreciated?
Sushruta's influence lasted for centuries in India. Ayurveda, the medical system that his work is a part of, is still practiced in India today. While some of his techniques became less common with the rise of modern medicine, his work was never forgotten. In fact, with the resurgence of interest in traditional medicine in recent years, many people are once again turning to Ayurveda and recognizing the brilliance of figures like Sushruta.
It's great to hear that his legacy lives on. But what about globally? Has modern science recognized his contributions?
Yes, in recent years, Sushruta has received more global recognition. Medical historians now acknowledge that he was one of the earliest pioneers of surgery. His contributions are studied in medical schools, and many modern surgeons appreciate his work as laying the foundation for surgical procedures that are still used today. It's just unfortunate that for so long, his work was overshadowed by more Eurocentric views of medical history.
It's incredible to think about how much he contributed to the world of medicine. And yet, like you said, he didn't always get the recognition he deserved. It just goes to show how important it is to look beyond our own cultural perspectives when studying history.
Exactly. Sushruta's work is a testament to the idea that science and medicine are global endeavors. Knowledge and innovation can come from anywhere, and it's important to recognize and appreciate the contributions of all cultures. In Sushruta's case, his work has helped shape the way we understand surgery, patient care, and even medical ethics.
I'm really glad we talked about him today. I feel like I've learned so much about ancient medicine and the impact one person can have on the world.
Same here. Sushruta's story is a reminder that innovation and discovery can come from anywhere. And sometimes the most groundbreaking ideas are the ones that stand the test of time.
What an incredible journey through the life and work of Sushruta. His contributions to surgery and medicine continue to impact the way we heal and care for patients today. If you enjoyed learning about the father of surgery and his lasting legacy, don't forget to subscribe to the Speak English Fluently channel for more fascinating discussions. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.